A couple was having dinner one evening when the husband reached across the table, gently took his wife's hand, and said, "Kathy, we're coming up on 30 years of marriage, and there's something I need to ask you. In all those years, have you ever been unfaithful to me?" Kathy looked at him and replied, "Well, David, I believe in honesty, so yes, I have. 3 times, but always for a good reason." David was stunned. 3 times? Wow, I, I never suspected. What do you mean by a good reason? Kathy nodded thoughtfully. The first time was just after we got married. We were about to lose the house because we couldn't pay the mortgage. Remember when I told you I want to talk to the banker, and the very next day, he approved the extension? Well, I did what I had to do. David sat back, sighed, and said, "Okay, that was a tough time. You saved our home. I guess I can understand. What about the second time?" Kathy continued, "Years later, when you got really sick and needed heart surgery, we didn't have the money. I went to talk to the doctor, and the next day, he said he'd do the operation for free. Again, I did what I had to do." David's eyes welled up. "You saved my life. That's actually very touching. I forgive you. But what about the third time?" Kathy smiled sweetly. "Well, remember when you ran for president of the golf club? And you were short 73 votes. A father was putting his 3-year-old daughter to bed one night when she asked to say her bedtime prayer. He smiled and listened as she softly said, "God bless Mommy. God bless Daddy. God bless Grandma. Goodbye, Grandpa." The father raised an eyebrow. "Why did you say goodbye to Grandpa?" he asked gently. "I don't know," the little girl replied. "It just felt like the right thing to say." The next morning, the family got a phone call. Grandpa had passed away in his sleep. The father was stunned, but chalked it up to an eerie coincidence that a few months later, he tucked his daughter in again, and she said her prayer. "God bless Mommy. God bless Daddy. Goodbye, Grandma." Sure enough, the next day, Grandma passed away. Now the father was starting to get nervous that a few weeks later, at bedtime, the daughter whispered her prayer. "God bless Mommy. Goodbye, Daddy." The father froze. Panic set in. He barely slept a wink that night, pacing the floor and watching the clock. As the sun came up, he decided he wasn't taking any chances. He'd stay at the office all day, just in case he didn't leave work until after midnight. When nothing happened, he finally let out a huge sigh of relief and headed home. When he walked through the door, his wife looked up, frazzled. "Where have you been? You won't believe the day I've had." The father shook his head. "You think your day was bad? I've been terrified all day. I thought I was going to die." His wife blinked. "Well, you're not the only one who lost someone today. My boss dropped dead in the middle of a meeting." An elderly couple had just settled in a bed for the night when the husband suddenly remembered. He'd left the lights on in the greenhouse out back. As he got up to turn them off, both he and his wife heard voices. Peeking outside, they saw 3 men had broken into the greenhouse. Frightened, they called the police. The dispatcher told them all units were currently busy, but that an officer would be sent as soon as one was available. That a few minutes passed. Still no help. The old man called back. "No need to send anyone," he said calmly. "I shot all 3 intruders, and my dogs are out there finishing them off." Within minutes, the yard was swarming with police cars, officers, and even a K-9 unit. The burglars were caught in the act and arrested on the spot. One of the officers turned to the old man and asked, "I thought you said you shot them and your dogs were eating them?" The old man smiled and said, "I thought you said there were no officers available." While touring a local mental hospital, John turned to the director and asked, "How do you decide if someone needs to be admitted?" The director smiled and said, "It's actually quite simple. We fill a bathtub with water, then offer the patient a teaspoon, a teacup, and a bucket. We ask them to empty the tub. John grinned. Oh, I get it. A sane person would obviously use the bucket. It's the biggest, right? The director replied, No, a sane person would pull the plug. A bakery owner hired a young woman to work the counter. Bright, friendly, and fond of very short skirts. One afternoon, a young man walked into the shop, glanced at her, then looked up at the shelves of bread behind her. Spotting the raisin bread way up on the top shelf, he got an idea. I'll take a loaf of raisin bread, please, he said with a smile. She nodded and climbed the ladder to reach it. As he'd hoped, standing below offered quite the view. Once she handed him the loaf, he paused and added, Actually, better make it two. I'm having company. Another man, having observed the exchange, quickly stepped up. I'll take some raisin bread too. And so it continued. One by one, male customers all seemed to have a sudden craving for raisin bread. After a dozen trips up and down the ladder, the clerk was tired and suspicious. Climbing up once more, she looked down and noticed an elderly gentleman standing among the group. Fed up, she called down sarcastically, Is it raisin for you too, sir? The old man blinked and replied, No, but it's definitely quivering a little.